SEO this week. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode and appreciate you. This time we're going to look at some AI traffic analysis. John Mueller talking about an image SEO technique that he thinks may or may not work. We'll see in the news and a whole bunch more with that. Let's check it out.
Did you know a press release alone isn't enough? Visibility is key. You need a multi-platform strategy to share your story across news, audio, video, and social media. Welcome to Magic PR, where your press release transforms into a powerful media experience, maximizing exposure and engagement. We distribute your release to top outlets like Yahoo Finance, Bloomberg, Business Insider, and more. Plus, your release is SEO optimized, ensuring better search rankings. But we don't stop there. We turn your press release into a podcast, distributing it across 25 platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. Then, we create a social media content for Facebook, X, and Instagram, and even transform your story into a video press release for YouTube and top media sites. Video drives over 80% of higher engagement, and short-form content is king. We make viral videos for your YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and more. At Magic PR, we don't just publish, we amplify. Get your press release seen, heard, and shared everywhere. Visit magicpr.com today and take your brand to the next level. Back to you, Clint.
All right, I really blubbered that intro up, didn't I? But hey, whatever. It's SEO, not rocket science. Anyway, let's get on with the articles. First, mention Ahrefs blog. They're putting out some decent content lately. This says data AI makes up 0.1% of traffic. I mean, my initial response to 0.1% is big deal, but 0.1% of all internet traffic, still a lot of traffic. I mean, I could survive on 0.1% of the internet's traffic. I don't know about you. But we look at it by channel, and when you compare it to regular organic search, which may or may not be impacted by AI overviews, more than likely it is being impacted by AI overviews, but still you get 43% of the traffic to sites is generally coming from search, and then 42% is direct. Now there has been some, I would say guessing, I'm looking for guessing is probably the best term here, that LLM traffic is actually getting rolled in as direct too, because of issues with reporting from in analytics tools. And it's certainly possible. A lot of I think even a lot of some organic traffic gets rolled into direct too, depending on browser settings, etc. Right? So it is possible that LLM traffic might even be a little bit higher. I would probably guess that it actually is higher than email, because I've seen a lot of people's emails, but I will also say that a lot of websites that I go to, I actually find in my email versus doing search. So I'm kind of, here or there on that idea. There is a part of this here where it says that it's sending roughly the same amount of traffic as Reddit, and it's interesting. Is like, where's the outbound traffic numbers? And this is really an analysis of 35,000 websites that I'm assuming that they have access to, but I can guarantee you if they're using Ahrefs data, it's going to be way off. But, it's based off of the data that they have, they can make this analysis. So It is what it is. And what's really cool about this is the different types of blog posts that they're arguing you can make with to kind of jump into the overviews and stuff, and blogs, best of, contact, products, guide, us, top, best, versus, and I thought I saw free. Those are like articles that you would normally do to catch infographic stuff, and essentially just looking at these are usually going to be lists or individual product listings. So I find it interesting that those are all popped in. Blog probably is really the most, because AI overviews generally are designed to answer questions, and that means that the info marketer types that they write content for the purposes of attracting that information traffic, which, don't get me wrong, is significantly higher than transactional traffic or even navigational traffic. So these are some ideas if you're looking to kind of capture some of that in your niche. Think about best, guides, top, AI versus, I would go with top, guide, bests, and maybe free. But I'll tell you that people who search for free generally don't spend a whole lot of money. So I would stick in this range up here, and write some content to support those, and see if their theory is in fact true, that you can capture some of that by writing those kind of guides and stuff for AI. Next is AI is testing AI overviews in the search results on YouTube. And it's essentially these video carousels that are AI. Supposedly, the way it reads is they're going to be AI snippets. I haven't actually been exposed to those yet, so it'll be interesting to see how they pull that off. But if they are taking your content and creating shorts, and those shorts are in that YouTube ecosystem, and that ecosystem results in referral traffic for you and your videos and exposure to your brands, I'm all for it. I actually think that's a cleaner, better way to implement AI overviews than versus what they did in Google search. Obviously, scale is a big deal in that situation, but I think this is a good thing, especially if you have a YouTube channel. So look out for that. Snapshots templated. This is there's some new reports inside of GA4. I've said for quite some time that GA4 was Google's, what they essentially did, just looking at the product development, the rollout and everything, is they got everyone hooked on Looker Studio. They looked at all the reports that people were making inside of Looker Studio, and then they said, hey, this is the information that all these reports say that these people want. Let's make that in GA4. And they essentially made GA4 a Looker Studio report. Unfortunately, it chopped off at its knees the data that is presented to business owners inside of there. Now, it is a free tool, so I get it. They don't have to give you all that stuff that they were giving us in Universal Analytics. They don't have to do anything. But in this case, I think, they're kind of listening to and watching what other people are doing with their APIs and stuff, and creating reports that could be potentially more useful. I'm not saying that they are going to be more useful. I'm not even indicating that I'll be using any of these, but they could be more useful for it. So check it out. I'll be sticking with my Looker Studio reports. How to prevent content from appearing in AI views. The part here is Google Extended is not a method for managing your content appears in search. So if you're screwing around with Google Extended, which essentially is the bot name that drives AI traffic, and you can see some more information here. It's the user agent for the bot that's teaching Gemini. So you can't use that what they're saying is it doesn't affect like title tags, descriptions, and rankings and all that madness like the Googlebot would. They're supposedly two separate systems. In the Google extended, you let it in or don't let it in is kind of where you're at. I would argue though that once Googlebot goes, there's a lot of trust in there that's saying that Google is not transferring information that Googlebot picks up and gives it to its AI systems. I think if they're already crawling the web and they're already reading your stuff, then more than likely they already have it or they're already going to use it inside of their AI models, regardless of whether you have Googlebot turned on or off. But that's the pessimist in me. But you can read more about Google Extended right here and what they say you can do if you don't want your stuff inside of Gemini. Image streaming, if you don't know what it is essentially it's uploading your images to a service. In this case, an image streaming service that's called this one's called SmartFrame. And what they do is they turn your image into code. A good example is binary. You can use there's tools out there where you can put an image in the binary and put it on your website, and then it will render that image in the browser based off of the binary code. What John Mueller is saying is if you do that, you're going to be hurting yourself in regards to image SEO if that's important to you. If it's not necessarily important to you, I think you're going to be all right. Like there probably is a way to have Googlebot get your image off of your server and not be public. And really what this is preventing is hot linking to your websites and hot linking your images and taking your images and using your server power to populate people's spam sites. Which, by the way, that also hurts your SEO because Google punishes you for it. They say that they don't, but they're Googlebot. Right? Google certainly does punish you for the links that are made when people are stealing your images. So SmartFrame is something to consider. If you're like me and image SEO is not all that big of a deal and you want to just leverage something like Pinterest, you can do your search engine optimization over at Pinterest with your images. Flickr, and those kind of places, and not worry about Google images, then image streaming is certainly something to look at. It's not going to hurt the rest of your content. It's just going to affect your images. So that's a good security thing, especially if you're like you're a photographer and you put your stuff on the paid sites, etc., and you also want to highlight your body of work on your own website. Image streaming is probably good for that too. Prevent a lot of your stuff being ripped off. So check it out and see if it's right for you. AI overused glitch may hit at Google's algorithm. This is the dumbest story on the planet, and I can't, 55,500 people have read it, and it just amazes me that people that are so intelligent could be so stupid. So they're asking questions, and then they're surprised that Google's Gemini in the AI overview system is actually answering it versus correcting them. And the reason it's doing it, morons, is because it's called generative AI. It's not designed to say right or wrong. It's designed to give you an answer for what you ever get it. You ever say to it. And the fact that these so-called intelligent people are dogging on AI because it's doing what it's supposed to do, it really does astound me of how dumb these people are. Like it's generative AI. It's not designed to tell you the truth. It's not a researcher. They've never said it was a researcher. And as it gets the data set and it grows more and more, perhaps one day it'll come to the point where it'll stop you and correct you. But I also bet you at that point in time, it'll also be sent to censor you. So consider all these things. And when you write these dumbass perspectives on generative AI, or you see these dumbass perspectives, put those people on your I'm not going to listen to you list anymore, because they clearly either they're intentionally misleading you and you know, and just doing this stuff for views and likes and retweets or whatever, or they're dumb, and you don't need to be following either one of those types of people. Rant complete. Optimizing your SaaS landing pages in 2025. This is actually really interesting, and I like it for a few reasons. And mainly is the structure that I'm looking at here. Is your product, what solutions does your product solve? So that's like marketing 101. Identify the problem that the person is having. And this is probably entrepreneurship 101 too. Identify a problem to solve, create a product that solves it, and then present the solutions and tie it to your product, right? And that's what this silo here is essentially representing. And then their multi-level SEOs, like getting it out there and doing some stuff with it. And I like the layout, these pain point pages. What do we do? Try it out. Like, this is how it works, what the problem we solve, us versus them, and what it takes to start. Those pages are actually pretty templatable, and you can, just really change the what we solve section for every of your solutions, and then link it to your product via the call to actions, and you have a really good funnel and a really good SEO silo all at the same time. Here's again, just remember to SEO more than just Google. Stop focusing on Google. Move on to, welcome to the real world. Bing is there. LinkedIn is, it's a search engine. Twitter's a search engine. Facebook's a search engine. YouTube's a search engine. Pinterest search engines. If you think about it, any site that people go to seek out information is a search engine. So look beyond even just these, and look beyond just AI, et cetera, and you'll have a good way to go. And I'm going to try to make one of these. I think this is actually pretty interesting. I don't know what I'm going to make it for. Probably rank gear. We can play with that, and just really got to just figure out the solution pages, right? And then turn these into solution pages on rank gear and see what happens. I mean, again, you can probably pop out a good template like this for your SaaS or whatever you're happen to be promoting. So check that article out. Optimizing e-commerce. I think e-commerce for SEOs is probably going to be the new comfort zone. Originally, it was local business, because local is actually pretty easy to be relatively successful, depending on the niche. It's not always easy, but in general, it's pretty systemizable and templatable, and you can, you're going to do X, Y, and Z in order to compete, and you don't have as much problem solving, but in the future, and I'm not saying right away, but in the future, I think everything will kind of move over, shift to a lot of priorities to e-commerce. And frankly, you have Google Shopping, you have e-commerce products will start being offered inside of ChatGPT. I expect that to probably be the same fall not too far away with Perplexity and Claude, etc. So e-commerce is a good safe hedge if you're looking at like where to move forward. And a lot of sites are using, or a lot of businesses are using platforms like Shopify. So getting into those now and being comfortable with those now and making yourself an account over there now and building a fake store. You don't have to rank it. Just get yourself a nice custom domain, build yourself a nice fake store, and just test it and play with the add-ons, test with problem solving with it, etc. And you'll do pretty good. There's a lot of businesses already that are focusing on Shopify businesses to target for SEO work. But, again, there's a lot more platforms out there that you can try to master as well, and just target, those people. And I think you're going to be doing okay. I mean, the candle business that I was working, until their market kind of just died out for the year, they made really good money. They just paid me $24,000. Was it 24? No, I don't even think it was 24. Close to that, but they doubled their money just on organic sales alone. And on top of that, the owner was actually doing the social media influencer stuff too. So they were really killing it. And that's just one little microcosm niche. Like, she was very narrowed down into who her target audience was. And so, technically you could potentially just become the SEO for candle companies, for example. But it's a good thing to look at, and I would check out Ian's slide presentation on it. I hate that there's no videos, but I mean, that's what you get for not going to an SEO conference. Rank product pages in Google's new product SERP. You see here that Google is changing that a lot. I mean, you have the sidebars, you have this kind of like Amazon thing going on here. I'm sure a bunch of you have seen that. You see the product carousels that are popping everywhere, etc. Obviously, you're going to need schema for that to kick in some of the rich snippets. Make sure that that's optimized. Your Google Merchant Center, you want to turn that on to get there. It says use FAQ pages, but remember from last week, FAQ pages. Well, I didn't know if I told you last week. I don't remember, but FAQ pages now, they're changing the guidelines so that you can only use it. Authoritative sites are allowed to use it, and health sites are allowed to use it. In both cases, the health sites have to be authoritative at the same time, right? And everyone else need not apply. I think what's going to happen really is they're not really expecting you to go take off your FAQ schema unless you have an FAQ page. And either way, they're just not going to show FAQs for the majority of websites anymore. I think it's smart. They're getting rid of that, and they kind of used FAQs to build their people also ask sections up fairly robustly. And the amount of questions that they were able to generate by tacking on to these FAQs. So it also makes sense to me. And then you have the image and video and image carousels. I think it's a little different for whatchamacallit, for products though. It's if I'm looking for puppy accessories, I want to see the accessories, right? And so the images and the videos, I wouldn't put as much effort into those as I would my product feed, my Google Merchant Center feed, etc. And getting reviews and mobile optimization, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this is a good article from Angie over at Sitebulb. Check it out. How to remove a site from search without verifying ownership. Let's see. If you it's this is a hard question to get to, right? Like, if you own the site, it's weird. It's really refresh outdated content tool. I think this is kind of dangerous for Google. Honestly, I wonder how this tool could be used. And I hesitate to bring this up because I don't know. How could this tool be used for negative SEO? For example, I had a client, the website was hacked. I did a backup of, I think I told the story last week. I did a backup and then downloaded the backup to my computer. My computer runs antivirus full scans with Viper, and Viper found a hack in the website's files. So I went in and cleaned it up with anti-malware. I wonder how this tool could be used to actually trigger recrawls of a page where that malware attack was successful and they just kept feeding in those bad URLs that malware was intended to create. I think this tool is a little bit dangerous. Like, why would you want to have people who don't own pages submitting information to you? I think to me, it just seems a little whack. But ask Google to recrawl the URLs, use the inspection tools, submit a sitemap. I mean, it's possible. Yeah, modified or removed from the web. Let's see. Next, single page URL. I wonder how many times it'll let me get away with it. Like, can I put my cloud stack in there? they're not mine. And that would increase my indexing, for example. An interesting idea. I'm not sure. I think this tool could be dangerous, though. I really do. So follow it along, try it out, think of some ideas, put it in the comments below of what would be the valid use case for this, and then what would be some not so valid use cases too. And let's kind of brainstorm. Let's put our black hats on and brainstorm some ideas in regards to that, and then some potential exploits that we might need to keep an eye on. Like I hacked your website. I put a PHP redirect on your homepage. I submit that through this tool. Google sees the new stuff on the PHP, and I roast your website, and you don't even know it. It could happen. Let's see. How to find and remove no index tags. I think this is just it sounds basic, but there is some no index tags that come from your JavaScript, some CDNs, CMS plugins. Plugins is probably by far the most possible or a likely way that no index tags show up on your website. So you want to be able to see those. Obviously, like Search Console will give reports of, oh, this is no index, robots no index, but then you go to the website and that's not the case. And you look at the Java, you look at everything and it's like, why is it picking that up? And it's just the only tool that's saying that it's no indexed is Search Console. You put it into URL inspection tool and it works just fine. I mean, I've seen that kind of stuff, but you have to have at least some idea of where to start looking for just in case these happen. Case in point, there was an SEO plugin quite some time ago. They used it was a it wasn't no index, it was like no display, which essentially at the time worked like no indexed. And it was an innocuous place in the code. You never really think about it. And then people were using it, and then all their sites started disappearing. And I was using it at the same time, and I was like, what the hell's going on? And I found the no display. I found out why my stuff wasn't showing. And I believe not long after, a bunch of other people figured that out too. And they started showing, they changed or fixed that plugin. But I just deleted the plugin. I didn't say anything to the community. My competition doesn't know what the hell's going on with them. Okay. But yeah, but that's because I took the time to learn the different ways that no index actually appears, etc. So you want to check that out and just use a quick tool. Like all you really need is like something like this detailed tool, and it'll pop the no index and show you if it's no indexed or not. There's a couple other ones that might be looking at different things or looking at the whole pages or whatever, but generally I just use detailed and I'm good to go. Disrupted local rankings, and this is really just a walkthrough of some sectors and how things changed a little bit and what's ranking now predominantly. As you can see, in this case, home pages are predominant, but there are internal pages. This is the doctor, the provider page, homepage, homepage, homepage. And it makes sense. There's lots of situations where a homepage or how Google is fixing or I won't say fixing, but changing the way they want to serve pages to you. And I think it's kind of an answer to location pages because of the spammers, guys like me, who at one time were building sites with 8 million location pages and throwing those all up and taking over SERPs. There's still people out there that are doing it, but this solution, I think, kind of counters that a little bit. Depending on how well you designed your homepage. Remember, your homepage is your business card, so all traffic going there should be converting anyway. Well, not all, but you know what I mean. It should convert very well. It should convert better than your location pages, personally, I think. So if you're a local business and you serve in Yuma, here we have Yuma, and then St. Louis, Somerton, we have the foothills. If they showed my own page and all of those, and even though I still had location pages, yeah, I'm fine with that. It's totally fine. If you see that that's what they're doing, you link with the exact match keyword from your location page to your home page, pass off that increased relevance, and in theory should boost you up pretty good. It's been my experience that that's what happens. But if they don't, if they're showing your location page, then just, leave it alone. Don't try to force it to the home pages. But I think that's what they're doing. They're just kind of keeping everything and trying to calm down those location pages. And it's frankly because they're letting you, instead of filling the internet with a whole bunch of location pages in the search results, they're letting you optimize a location page and then sending the relevance to the homepage for that brand. So it's still working out for you. It's still your benefit because all roads lead to you. So keep an eye on it. It's not to say go optimize or re-optimize your homepage for the primary keyword. So if Digital Ear, for example, if I'm not going to go re-optimize my homepage for Phoenix SEO. I have a Phoenix SEO page. I'll just link it to my homepage, and if it ranks the homepage there, then that's the way it is. If it ranks my location page, that's the way it is. I'll let Google decide that, and that's all right. Tool time. Just one tool this week, and it's content substance classification, and you can't see it in the images, but essentially what it does is it runs through your entire website using his data tool, and it essentially marks your stuff as quality or crap. it's actually pretty cool. He calls it cyber fluff. I call it crap. But all you do is come in here. You have this full text for granular page analysis. There was he changes up a little bit. You used to be able to run your whole site in here, and I think what he's doing is he probably realized that there was a lot going through there to have your entire website run through there, but you can run your content in here and it'll tell you whether it's good or bad. It used to do the whole website, like this image suggests. Here, just run through and do the whole website. My guess is that probably cost him a lot of money when he actually had that in place. But now I think it's just doing one text at a time, but it's okay. So say you have an article. I think I ran one through there. Let me go here. Let's grab all of this. Drop it in there, run analysis. And we'll see how it comes back. And I'll come back to that after we do the questions, okay? All right, questions time. Why are impressions fluctuating so much? I've been doing SEO for a medical client for the past 5 months. The domain has no rating in the beginning, but has now become a DA2, telling me that they're not building backlinks very much. Ergo, that's why the DA is not responding. DA is really easy to manipulate. So if you're building any decent backlinks at all, DA2 would be significantly higher. Back to this question. But I didn't see much improvement in impressions or clicks, even though I targeted low difficulty keywords. But in this month, I've seen a huge fluctuations in impressions. My website started to rank for most of the keyword. Near all the blogs were ranking, homepage, service pages were ranking after a few days. But after a few days, it's all gone back to low impressions. And after a week, it went back up again. And a few days later, back down. And again, it's happening. And the changes are very huge. Like generally, the blogs will be ranking 7th or 8th position pages of the SERP when this uprise happens. And then all the pages range first and second in the SERP. First and second pages of the SERP. I made sure this content is not spammy, blah, blah, blah. It's not a website thing, because the question is, can it be due to the coding of the website? It's not a website thing. It's a brand year. Essentially, it's a 5-month-old site inside of the Your Money, Your Life market, and they're testing it to see how the users respond to it. Since you're not promoting it, which clearly you're not because the DA is so low, since you're not promoting it, Google has no measure available. No one's voting for you, and more than likely your internal linking is probably fucked, because most people's internal linking is fucked. You're not voting for yourself, so they're testing you out to see if you'll generate any clicks or wherever they show you at. And ultimately, you're going to see is that up and down is going to stop until you start getting backlinks, and you're going to get really frustrated, and your site's just going to be labeled in that scoring system of crap. It sounds like you have a whole bunch of content. You don't have any links. They're testing you right now. And if you don't get a hold of it and start building links to it soon and getting that impressions, especially for the keywords that you're testing you on, and getting those up so that you can actually get clicks and you get some engagement in the search results, that site's going to be a pain in the ass in the very near future. Let's see. Yep, here we go. Content contains thin content. No. It's just doing it sentence by sentence and looking at some of my sentences. And then overall, let's see, is it have the overall? Nope, it doesn't have an overall. But overall, it looks like I'm seeing more no's than I'm seeing yeses. So really, if I wanted to clean this up, I can actually go in here and potentially, like, in a bustling world of small businesses, I can delete that. It's all about building an intimate connection with surrounding community. I could clean that up. It could be just a connection. It's all about building a connection with the surrounding community. And I can go through this line by line and then drop it back in and make sure that everything is no. And in theory, if Dejan's deep model is smart enough to figure some of that out based off of the whatever coding he's got in there, Google's potentially could, right? In theory. So if you're looking at a cheap way to optimize some stuff real quick, beyond, the normal, this is a cool tool to check out. All right, next question. Is this Webflow common if a company needs on-page SEO work done on their site, but they don't want to grant access to the SEO agency / worker, is it normal for them to request the SEO agency pass the information onto the website admin to make modifications per their instructions? If it's an actual agency, it's actually not normal. Agencies prefer to have control because they have greater responsibility. They want to get speed of action, etc. So they want to be able to engage with the website. Typically, what they'll do is set up with the business owners and their dev team, like these are the rules, these are the things that I'm going to change, and if I need you to change anything else, you do that. Versus a worker is generally like a freelancer, Upwork type, there to do specific tasks, and then that's normal. Like, here's what I want you to do. I need to rewrite all my meta descriptions. I want you to rewrite all those and then put it on a spreadsheet, and the dev teams will implement them. That's perfectly normal. It happens all the time. So be prepared for most of those, especially based on your positioning. I don't typically do one-off work anymore. I want to get a nice recurring income. I want to, because I'm feeding my family off of my paychecks. And so I don't typically do one-off work anymore. And since I'm not doing one-off work anymore, I don't accept this premise that I'm not going to get access. If I can't have access and change things, then you don't trust me to actually be your SEO, and I'm certainly not training your team to do stuff that I would do. And it also hampers me because there'd be things that I would do that I wouldn't train your team, and so you're not going to get those. And then that creates a negative result in your campaign, and you're not going to blame your dev team. You're going to blame me. That's a whole bunch of nightmare in a box right there. And this is a good example. It's another question. I'm not going to read the whole question, but essentially they did the exact same thing as that other guy. You can see this is the testing. We're testing it. And then we're not, what the hell's his name? The DAS guy, Jimmy, fucking, what the hell's his last name? Jimmy something. And he pointed this out when I was going through one of his masterminds, and essentially, through testing and reviewing, is exactly what it's doing, is testing it for queries. Nothing's happening. It's testing it for more queries, nothing happened. So we're done with testing you. And there's 1 month, essentially 45 days. They tested it for some queries, nothing happened, and then they dropped it. The metrics here don't necessarily make any sense. Like, why do you not want to show the clicks? And I think it's because part of his story is full of shit. But this is what that looks like when you're being tested. You can see that on your queries individually too. Like, you can have a really good site that's performing well, and you'll look at your queries list, and Google will be testing you for new queries and new opportunities, and that's where keywords everywhere kind of comes in and can save the day. I'll show you my trashed search console. Again, I'll look at, see, boom, boom. This is junk, right? So you go in here. You can do past 24 hours. You can do 7 days too, and kind of see that. And then you switch over the queries. And then what I like to do is you can do clicks, but I like to look at the search volume here. So SEO Agency Phoenix is probably one that I want to go after. Let's put average position. So SEO Agency Phoenix, my average position is 33. I'll concur that with Cora or the SEO volatility tool. Same here, Phoenix SEO, local advertising. See, local advertising, that's a new one to me. So I can look and click that, see the pages. And then I have this blog post about local advertising. I can go in there and run a Cora report on local advertising or a pop report or even in links and see if I'm, how that's performing and do some optimizations to target specifically the keyword local advertising and potentially get that up. And it's like I'm 84 and my impressions are 624. That's really way down there. My impressions are relatively high. So that is how you use these impressions numbers to gain some opportunities. Even on a GetOS site like Digital Lear, there's opportunities. You see here impressions. It's getting 14,000 impressions on that Phoenix page. So let's click it. We'll filter to it, and then we'll go to the queries, and you see all these opportunities here and where it's ranking. And I can sort by impressions and primarily Phoenix SEO Company. These are probably the terms that I want to look for. If I was to rank it, I would tell you that city SEO rankings are really shit for traffic. These are generally other SEOs looking for it. And the leads that I have always gotten ranking for these, and I've ranked for 1,400 cities around the world with the city SEO term, and the leads were always crap. So I wouldn't generally spend a whole lot of time doing this, but maybe SEO services, Phoenix, that would work out a lot better versus Phoenix SEO. In my opinion, the leads are better from these different terms. Like some of these are clearly SEOs searching for them, but some of them are potentially business. Like SEO services, Phoenix would generally be a business, and you can kind of keep on going right down the list and find some different opportunities here using this method. So I don't think I have any that are being tested. Yeah, there's no indication of a whole lot of testing going on with these pages. Perhaps right here, you see some of the click jumped up. Perhaps some right there, but I doubt it. Really what you want to look for is something like that. That's testing. And if you pull this, you can use BigQuery and get new, and set it up to where if a new keyword comes, part of that BigQuery table could be date added. And then you can see new opportunities even better. But I'm not really a BigQuery nerd, but it is definitely possible with the API to pull that stuff out. And you can roll the API now with hours. I think it's updated supposedly it's last updated here every 3 hours, but it potentially, I think the API is hourly. You can pull hourly data from that and follow along with their testing and just, add the terms to your pages and see how it responds. That's a good SEO test for you right there. All right, so let's see. We got a little bit of news. We got one tool. We got some questions answered, and I showed you my GetOS Search Console report and a tool on how to use the keywords everywhere, the search volume, and the positions to kind of figure out opportunities for you that Google's showing you in their own testing. So I hope that you get something out of this week's episode. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Engagement is engagement. I appreciate all of you, and have a good week.